Welcome back to the canon. Today's episodes of Thoughts, Hopes, and Theories, where we'll be looking at the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Alright, so we are one movie into the phase 3 of the MCU, which is a veteran cinematic universe. We already seen Civil War, we talked about that many a times. Next movie up is Doctor Strange, coming out November 4th, 2016. This movie is directed by Scott Derrickson. He is a horror director, similar to the James Wan type trajectory. But we got an all-star cast. We got Benedict Cumberbatch playing Dr. Stephen Strange. We got Chiwetel Ejiofor as Baron Mordo. We got Tilda Swinton. And we got Mads Mikkelsen. So, Sal, what do you think about this movie? Are you excited? Because it's not too far away.
Yeah, it's kind of just, no pun intended. Oh, man, I'm trying to say it's come fast. We keep this PG, try to. But anyways, yes, I am very excited because the things that we've heard from it so far is that it's not like any other Marvel movie, and that is very exciting just from the stuff we've seen so far. It does look different, so hopefully the story kind of plays out a little bit different than every other Marvel movie, especially the origin story ones. Obviously, Benedict Cumberbatch is a great actor, number one choice for me at least. Maybe Joaquin Phoenix could have been a little bit better, but not too far behind. So yes, I'm very excited for this, and just in general, this next slate and this next phase is great because the only original character from the original Avenger that has a movie is Thor, and I guess you can count the Infinity Wars, but I'm not doing that. So this phase, I'm actually really excited for Marvel, which is hard to get me to that point for Marvel. So yes.
How do you like this cast? Do you think there'll be enough screen time for all these A-list actors? Like, we got some top-heavy talent right now, like some Oscar-level acting going on into this mysterious, mystic realm. Do you think there's going to be enough camera time for everybody?
I think so, but I think Tilda Swinton and Ejiofor, I think they're gonna be recurring characters if this movie goes on to second and third. So I think they are gonna get good screen time, but not too much in terms of they'll have their time later on. So I think it'll be evenly distributed somewhat. So
okay. I'm excited for this movie. I'm ready to see what Marvel does. Like, at this point, this is phase 3. You gotta take the stakes up. You gotta branch out a little bit. Guardians of the Galaxy gave you a little bit with the space opera and the comedy. But now we're going into magic, going into mysticism. So I'm ready to see how it ties in. Because right now, looking at the teasers, it looks perfect. Doctor Strange, him going from a doctor, tragic story, to a sorcerer. And it all looks good in his world.
yeah.
But then it's like, okay, well, now show me how this is going to expand the MCU. How does this connect into the larger picture? But, what do you think about getting a director from the horror genre to direct this?
Yeah. So I think that Marvel knew that they wanted this to be a lot different from their previous movies. So I think that's kind of what you have to do in terms of, depending on what character you're doing. But Stephen Strange is, or Doctor Strange is, kind of that outer rim mysticism kind of character and his story is. So I think you have to go do that, because if you had kind of the run-of-the-mill director, I don't think you would have really captured that source material as well as people would have liked. So I like that they hired a horror director for this, same as James Wan too for Aquaman, and I think you'll really kind of see that horror underneath everything in a sense.
Okay. So do you got any overall theories or hopes, thoughts for this movie?
I definitely think we're going to see him somehow meet up with someone from the other part of the universe.
Okay.
In terms of
So
the
some
MCU
cameo.
expanded. Yeah, I think.
Who would you like to see?
Wow, I never haven't thought about that. Well, Stark and Captain America are out because they're gonna be in. Maybe he might run into Thor or Hulk.
Okay.
Because they're out there. But if you ran into Guardians too, because they're coming right after this movie, that'd be pretty sweet. So we'll see. We'll see where he goes. What about you?
I mean, I have a theory, but it's not that original. Is that Baron Mordo is going to become the new villain at the end of this movie? Mm-hmm. I think Strange and Mordo will team up against whoever Mads Mikkelsen is playing. I'm not sure who he is, but they'll team up against him. But then Mordo will go to become his adversary by the end of the movie.
I can see that.
And yeah, I like that because then you get Chiwetel Ejiofor to come back, and so you can kind of play on that. Yeah. I would like to see it as not so much, but kind of like a Professor X and Magneto dynamic, where they continue on throughout the time going against each other, but maybe not as friendly as those two are.
Okay.
All right. So after that, we'll be going into May 5th. May the 4th be with you, and then May 5th. 2017, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Guys, we got the same director and writer because James Gunn writes and directs it. Mm-hmm. We got the same cast coming back. A couple additions. You might know these guys. Sylvester Stallone is going to be in the movie. Kurt Russell's in the movie. Nathan Fillion, who will be playing Power Man. And then Elizabeth Debicki. So, kind of the new additions. Any thoughts, hopes, and theories? Also, they just wrapped as the time we're shooting this. They wrapped today. So
I think they were in Atlanta too.
Yeah, principal photography's done. Yeah, they're done shooting it. They're ready to go edit it and all. So this movie is hot on. I think it might be a little bit ahead of schedule. But so, what do you think about Guardians of the Galaxy 2, which we've talked about before? Isn't necessarily tied into the big Thanos arc.
Okay. Yeah, and that's going to be odd to see just because it had a lot of Thanos in the first one.
Right.
So we're going to kind of see where they traveled to and what their adventures took them to. I don't think it's too far off into the future. That's my theory. But again, I don't know where they're going because Thanos was their kind of target thing going on at the end of the movie. But yeah, Marvel's really stepping up their game with hiring these actors here. Kurt Russell, a legend in Hollywood, and obviously Stallone too, coming off the hot Creed movie. So we'll see where he goes here. I know James Gunn has been marketing this movie like crazy on Instagram and Twitter and stuff. So that's exciting. And they just announced today. I think they wrapped today, like you said. But I think Chris Pratt also announced today that they will be at Comic-Con.
Okay.
So we can possibly see some sort of trailer or something, maybe a teaser there. So yeah, and James Gunn also said, I think that Chris Pratt or Star-Lord, whatever you want to call him, is the only human in this movie.
Oh.
So
interesting.
Yeah. Well, he's only half human. So
yeah. I mean, but I think it's exciting. They wrapped principal photography, kind of like we said back in the day with Wonder Woman when they did the DC featurette. You know, they were in the middle of filming and we saw how much footage we got from them.
Yeah.
So now that you're done filming with the main stuff, you know, I expect come Comic-Con you got a full teaser trailer to show us because you got all the footage pretty much that you need.
And they're all going to be there. You can expect something.
And I mean, yeah, it's just, like you said, if they're not tying into the major arc, which they claim, we don't know if that's true, but if you're not, what are you doing? I'm kind of wondering. I know there's a lot of stuff you can do, but, you know, I'm having trouble thinking of what exactly they're going to focus on. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think the Guardians will be closer tied to the Nova Corps, where they'll be more legitimized, you know, as kind of real Guardians and not fugitives. So we'll see some of that. We'll see Groot come back. But kind of, who do you think Kurt Russell is going to be? There's rumors that he's Star-Lord's dad. Yeah. Do you think that's accurate?
I think so because I don't know from the comics. I never read it, but what was his name? Landu. No, Yandu. Sorry, couldn't think of his name.
Oh,
Yandu. At the end of Guardians, he said he's a jackass. So maybe Kurt Russell can play a dick. So I'm sure that could be him.
So you're saying Star-Lord's dad is a penis?
Yeah, it could be. You don't know. These guys are aliens. So yeah, I think the hunch is that he's his father. And Stallone, I have no idea. I haven't heard any rumors. I haven't read any rumors.
Well, the last I heard, they say he was part of Yondu's gang.
Okay.
So it's not like a huge part.
Well, I feel like he has to kind of have, not a huge part, but like Yondu-esque. Yondu is pretty
Maybe it's his second in command or something.
Yeah, no. Or maybe it's Yondu's brother or something. I don't know.
Yeah. And if you guys have not seen Man from U.N.C.L.E., Sal, have you seen Man from U.N.C.L.E.?
I haven't yet.
Go see Man from U.N.C.L.E. You go see Man from U.N.C.L.E. It's a good movie. Elizabeth Debicki, she played the main villain or one of the main villains in that movie. And she is a little haunting. She's a little haunting.
Yeah.
So I think I'm very excited to see what she does. From what I heard, she's an alien, but, well, according to the gun. So I'm excited to see because she's good. She's in some TV series right now with Tom Hiddleston. So, you know, keeping it in the MCU family. But I really, really like her. So I'm excited to see who she plays. Yeah, I think this movie's gonna be cool. We're gonna get some more music.
Yeah, Volume 2.
Yeah, we're gonna get some more music from Star-Lord and his, what his dad was listening to, and I'm excited for it. You got any thoughts, hopes, and theories about it?
No, I'm just excited. The first one was a hit, so I think this one will be too. Marvel kind of knows what they're doing with it already, and yeah, just continue to lay ground for the obscure characters in comic books, I think. So,
okay.
Not too much on the story yet, because I don't think we really have much on it.
Right. I will go on a limb. This is a theory that I had for a long time back before the canon days, on my podcast days. I still believe the Hulk is going to show up in the post-credit scene or somewhere in the movie. Because last time we seen Hulk, he was not in space, he was just flying in the Quinjet, and my theory was at the end of the Avengers he would go off into space, and or they would send him to space, whatever, setting up this Planet Hulk thing, which we'll talk about later. But I think Guardians will interact with him at some point, maybe it's a post-credit scene or whatnot. That's my only theory right now for this movie.
That'd be fun. I can't wait till Guardians interact with the Avengers.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be so great.
Yeah, we'll talk about that because that's coming up. All right, so after Guardians of the Galaxy, now we might count this as MCU, whatever you want to call it.
We don't do a Fox.
July 7th, 2017. Spider-Man Homecoming. Directed by John Watts, a young director, not a lot in his background. Written by John Francis Daley, Jonathan M. Goldstein. We got Tom Holland, fresh off of Civil War, big part of that movie. He'll be coming in as Peter Parker. We know Robert Downey Jr. will appear as Iron Man. And Donald Glover is now in talk / kind of confirmed. Marissa Tomei will be Aunt May. Zendaya, whatever, from Disney. She'll be Michelle. We still don't know kind of how they'll play that, if that's a love interest or what. We got Michael Keaton, who is still in talks, hasn't been confirmed, and has not been confirmed as Vulture, but he is confirmed as the main villain. That's the part they want him to play, or think is Vulture. Then we got some new guys coming in. Michael Barbary, he's a real young guy. He was in Grand Budapest Hotel.
Okay.
And we don't know what he's playing. He's rumored to be Peter's friend. We got Martin Starr, one of these young up and coming actors. We don't know what he's playing. But then we got Logan Marshall Green, who is rumored to be the second villain, the second secondary antagonist.
Yeah.
So if we got Vulture, maybe he's playing a Scorpion, or maybe he's playing a Mysterio. I don't know.
That'd be pretty. I could see him Mysterio.
So all this stuff. Sal, first off, let's start off. Do you think this is a packed cast?
Depending on, I don't know the story, but it is. To me, right now, that's how it looks. Obviously, you're naming off all these people right now in this one moment, but we don't know how big these parts are. I think a lot of it are just the kind of extra characters that you have, like the friends and maybe the love interest, which is still a big part, but we don't know how much they'll dive into that if that's the case. I just hope that I feel like it could be a great story, and this time around they're gonna overpack it.
Yeah.
This is what now I'm afraid of.
Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I'm so excited. I still want those confirmations from Glover and Keaton. That would be very nice to have, just to kind of put me at rest just a little bit. But this is Sony and Marvel working together.
Yes.
So that's also comforting, just to know that. Well, it could be. I haven't heard of any conflicts between the two. So so far so good, and yeah.
Yeah, I mean, after Civil War, me and you did our review, and I feel like both of us came away with people in the theater that were like, "That's the best Spider-Man ever." They were buzzing about Spider-Man. So I don't think Sony's at all displeased with what Marvel has done with their Spider-Man, and Tom Holland as their choice. So, I mean, on top of that, I have the same fear. I'm just like, wait a minute. A secondary antagonist already?
Yeah.
It's just like it's the first movie.
Yeah.
And then you're going to have... I don't think Iron Man's going to be like a big... I don't even think Robert Downey Jr. will be Iron Man.
No, I think, yeah. Totally.
Maybe he arrives in the suit and then packs it up into a wristwatch or a pinky ring. But he doesn't fight as Iron Man. He's mostly Tony. So...
Because then the stakes go out the window.
Yeah.
For Spider, you have to really establish this character
on his
Peter
own,
Parker,
for his own merit.
Yeah.
And so I don't think that's going to be a big deal. But having two antagonists, say it's the Vulture, and then having someone else, I don't know. But yeah, so it does feel like, man, maybe they might overpack this. But like you said, it's Sony and Marvel, and even though Sony didn't do the best with the Amazing Spider-Man, I just think having more brains at the table really helps you, figure out what you want to do. And then we originally heard they want to make this like a Ferris Bueller's Day Off type movie.
Yeah.
And then we see the casting of his love interest, of his possible best friend. And they're very young. Like, Tom Holland just turned 20. And I think Zendaya is still in her teens, and this other guy is definitely like 16 or something like that. So it's going to feel like high school. Yeah. So they're definitely playing to that notion. It's just like, what do you do with the rest of the story? Like, so do you got any thoughts, hopes, and theories? What do you hope to get out of this movie as a rebooted Spider-Man?
I hope that Tom Holland succeeds like he succeeded in Civil War. I really hope that. I think everyone does, obviously. So, I think he'll do fine. It's just the story. And, you're only as good as your villains. And I hope that Keaton comes on. I think he'll do an awesome job. Especially that kind of contrast between old actor and young actor. I think behind the scenes that will work really well, depending on how they interact with each other. So I really really hope that Keaton comes on, and there's just, I just want to be like, yes, this is the Spider-Man we've been waiting for. The Spider-Man story we've been waiting for, the Spider-Man movie. Great, 1 and 2 were great. Nothing against them, but this is...
Sam Raimi's.
Yeah, Sam Raimi's.
1 and 2.
Yeah. This is the MCU now. So we have to have an establishment to move forward within that universe. So that's what I hope for. What do you hope or theorize?
Well, after listening to you talk, my thought is maybe a kind of hectic movie wouldn't be so bad. I think it would be a bold choice, but a smart choice to make Spider-Man kind of, or Peter Parker kind of our lens into his world.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's usually one character that represents the audience.
Yeah.
And maybe it's good to throw all this stuff at him. Maybe, you know, he's coming home, he's got homework, and Tony Stark's in this at his couch, and he's like, wait, what's going on? And Tony's talking to him about this, and then there's a villain, there's a bigger villain, and then maybe it is, you know, because he's like a teenager. And so if we're planning on that, maybe it's good to throw him into this hero role where, like, life is not the same. Mm-hmm. Dude, you got Tony Stark popping up whenever. You got this villain that wants to kill you. You got a bigger villain that wants to kill you. You're in love with this girl. Your best friends that, like, maybe it's good to have that.
Yeah.
But as long as you use Spider-Man, Peter Parker, as the lens, as he's the audience, we're experiencing this with him. Like, dude, I don't know what to do. Yeah. Like, everybody's expecting so much responsibility on me, and I don't know. I've never been in that role. So maybe if they play it that way, I think it'll be good. Yeah. So I that would be my thought, in hope that if you do convolute it, you convolute it that way on purpose.
Okay.
So I want to ask you before we move on. Who do you think Donald Glover is playing? Because there's a lot of Miles Morales talk. And who do you think he should play?
I want to theorize that he's not going to be any certain character. I want to say he might be a new character. Mm-hmm. But the racist answer was Robbie Robertson. So that's what I'm going to say right now. Typically, he's an older character, you know, like Jay. At the age of Jameson, a little younger than him. But this is a new story, this is new characters, a new world, so if he's younger at the Bugle, that's okay too. Kind of the guidance for Peter. But yeah, he could also, I don't think he'd be Miles Morales. A lot of people are saying him too. I just don't see it. That's too much for the first movie.
Right.
And like one thing I hope too is that they don't have, as cool as it is to have like Easter eggs, not Easter eggs, but to have cameos from other characters in his universe. I don't want to see Norman Osborn or Harry Osborn or Mary Jane, or I don't want to talk about them. I want to focus on this story, because then that's kind of playing to the crowd, and that's pandering to me, so I don't want that. But yeah, that was off topic.
Okay, so you think he's going to be Robbie Robertson?
Yeah.
Well, who do you think he should play?
Who do I think he should play?
Where's Donald Glover best served?
Well, where do you think he's best served?
Oh, okay. Flip it on me. I think Robbie Robertson also.
Okay.
Like, even though it's a mysterious role they're trying to keep secrets, I think it's not going to be as big as they make it out to be. I do think he's going to be Robbie Robertson. Who do I think he should play? I think he should be Miles Morales. I will go on a limb and say it, and here's why. I went back and forth with this. Even though I do think it'd be too much to be two Spider-Mans, I don't think it'd be too much to lay the groundwork for a potential second Spider-Man. And if you want to switch it up where Miles Morales might be a little older, because in the comics, Spider-Man is a veteran Spider-Man, Peter Parker, and then Miles Morales is a young kid, and he kind of passes the mantle on. I'm fine if you reverse roles, where Donald Glover is Miles Morales, and I don't know how we know Spider-Man or whatever, but we're laying the groundwork that when Spider-Man goes on to something bigger or disappears or whatever, there's a guy that can take over for him. Mm-hmm. And so I'm fine with that. And Donald Glover had a Twitter campaign, like, fierce with the fans. Like, we want him as our new Spider-Man before they cast Tom Holland.
Yeah.
And they was like, we want it to be a diverse Spider-Man. And so this is a nice nod from Sony and Marvel. Like, hey, let's recognize this actor. People wanted him. Let's put him in it. And I think it'd be smart, because I think he voiced Miles Morales in the animated movie. Or not the movie, but TV show. And so, like, yeah, why not? It'd be cool. Like, Childish Gambino, my guy.
I just think it's risky because to have him as Miles Morales, you don't know that he'll still be on on board with these movies 3 movies later or 4 movies later. Whatever.
Well, that's why you make it a small part. It's not.
Yeah, I guess.
You have Tom Holland. He's 20 years old in real life. You're not moving course anytime soon.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really planting the seeds. Even if you planted the seed and like he had a couple good lines as Miles Morales, whatever, you could wait 5 years before to play on it.
Yeah.
You know, you got that in your back pocket now. And so,
Yeah,
because Donald Glover has a new TV show.
Yeah, he has a lot going on.
He raps like. He's probably not able to do all this right now anyway, so you have that in your back pocket.
True. Yeah, it can work both ways.
All right. Who else? Yeah, I mean, Spider-Man Home. Do you consider that part of MCU? Do you think that's gonna move any of the MCU forward? Because I don't. I'll say it right now. It is part of the MCU contractually, but I don't think it moves any of the stories.
I don't think this movie particularly does at all.
Yeah.
It can't. I don't want it to because I want it to focus on this single movie. In the future, though, I couldn't even tell you. Probably not. We'll have those cameos, but
yeah, I think Spider-Man cameos throughout the MCU like he did in Civil War. Yeah. Even in Infinity War, I don't think he'll be like a major part.
Yeah. And I want it to succeed on its own. I don't want it to have Marvel as a crutch. I want this Spider-Man to be the be-all, end-all Spider-Man.
Cool. And I'll retract my statement. I know like earlier on in the contract talks, I was like, Iron Man and Captain America are going to be a part of Homecoming. That was the contract. But I don't think the way Civil War played out and where they're releasing this movie, I don't think it makes sense to put Captain America in the movie also. So even though Chris Evans just came out and said he wants to join it, I just don't think the story links up at the time.
It might be at 2 different points though. They might meet them and they still might be at odds.
Yeah, but so I don't think you put them in that movie because then it's like a Spider-Man movie. But wait a minute, what's going on with Tony and Captain America?
Exactly what I don't want.
Yeah, so I just think if this was coming out after Infinity Wars or in the middle, maybe. But since it comes out before Infinity Wars, I don't think Captain America will show up. All right, so let's move on.
Long Spider-Man.
I know, right? So November 3rd, 2017, kind of in that Thanksgiving-ish area, Thor seems to always come out. We have Thor Ragnarok. We got... I can't even pronounce this guy's name. How do you pronounce this guy's name? Sal, you got
Taika Waititi.
Taika Waititi.
Yeah.
Sal said it.
I said it before this.
We got a young director. This person has done not a lot, but a good amount of acting, but not a lot of directing actually. Okay. So a young director, Stephanie Folsom is the writer, and so we got the same cast coming back. We got Thor, Chris Hemsworth, we got Tom Hiddleston as Loki, but adding on we have Carl Urban coming in as Scourge, who is usually seen with Enchantress. We have Cate Blanchett as Hela, who is the, for lack of a better word, god of death in the Asgardian realm. Mark Ruffalo as Bruce Banner.
Finally.
A.K.A. the Hulk. A.K.A. Green Daddy. Jeff Goldblum will be the Grandmaster.
I still think that's hilarious.
Who is brother to the Collector. And then we have Tessa Thompson as Valkyrie. So... we've talked about this a few times. If you haven't seen our episode before, go check it out. We've pretty much heard the whole plot for this movie, and it's all coming to fruition. But Sal, as we get closer to this movie, are you excited to see a Thor and Hulk team up buddy comedy?
Can you believe me when I say yes? I'm actually really excited for this movie.
I believe you.
I am very excited because Planet Hulk is a great story. Not that it's going to be the main. It might not be the main story.
Not at all.
They are going to take. They're going to take from it. But to move Hulk forward, I love Mark Ruffalo. So to move his character forward, I think would be very important. And I think that's what they're going to do with this movie. It's kind of a buddy cop movie in space. We've heard that over and over again. So this is kind of, I think, a great time for Thor to kind of have that bounce back. I don't even know if he got off the ground with his first 2 movies.
God, yes.
So, Dark World was really, really, really hard to watch. So yeah, that I think this really needs to succeed to kind of put Thor back on the map here. So yeah, and I love that outer world, outer space kind of stuff going on here with the MCU now. So I'm very excited for that. And Jeff Goldblum is a god among men. So I'm excited to see him too. And then Hela, Kate Blanchett, come on. This cast is great. I really love it.
Ridiculous.
It is ridiculous. So I think we're going to be very, very surprised at the outcome.
Now, do you want more of a comedic dynamic between Hulk and Thor, or do you want more of a serious? Not serious, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I would love to have it changed up because Thor has been serious his last two movies. So depending on, I also don't want, but I think we're still gonna get it, everything to be destruction and chaos, but I think that's gonna happen a lot. I'm just really interested to see where Hulk is in terms of not physically, but just emotionally, mentally, where he is, how long he's been gone. Yeah, so that's what I'm really excited for. So I want to see his character develop. I mean, that's a simple thing. So
yeah. I mean, I won't spoil the plot for you, even though we kind of know what it is. Mm-hmm. But I will say I'm very excited for it, and it's just because of one man, Chris Hemsworth. I've seen him do Saturday Night Live and other stuff. The guy's funny. The guy's funny.
He's just in Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters, you've seen him, if you haven't seen him in Vacation with
Ed Helms.
Yeah, Ed Helms. That's the guy. Like, he's a funny dude. Mm-hmm. He's a funny dude, so giving him a chance to be, that funny Thor with the Hulk, I'm very excited for. And this is the redemption, like you said. Thor is hot garbage. Yeah. I don't care what anyone says. Dark World was better, but not that great. And so now we're at the point in Phase 3 where everybody's getting to mix and mingle. You talk about Captain America Civil War. That is a freaking 2.5 Avengers movie. Like, whatever you want to call it, Captain America got the heat from all these other actors and characters. So now Thor gets to get the heat from bringing in the Hulk. And Kate Blanchett, Jeff Goldblum, Carl Urban. You add talent. I don't know, man.
I'm just so excited for Goldblum.
It's gonna be. I think Goldblum is going to kill it.
I never thought I'd be saying I was most excited for a Thor movie.
Yeah, right, exactly. And so you take Planet Hulk, this idea that Hulk is on a planet where he has to fight. He's basically a gladiator. They do it for entertainment. And then Thor has to drop down in there, and then they have to fight. So we're going to get a very good fight scene before they become buddies. Mm-hmm. And then after that, they, continue on the plot. So I'm excited. It seems like they keep switching directors with Thor. Like, they don't know what direction to go into. Mm-hmm. I think this is the third director out of the 3 movies, but this is the one that has the most attraction because you got Hulk and all these other people. And then people who haven't seen Loki in a while.
Yeah.
Loki was supposed to be in Ultron. He wasn't. And so people love Loki. They want to see where he ends up. And so I think you got a lot of stuff to go see in this movie. And this is supposed to be the direct tie-in to Infinity Wars.
All right. So they are in space.
Yeah, and then you're on different planets. And then, of course, the Gauntlet, the Finley Gauntlet that originally showed up in the first Thor.
Yeah, it was there. And so we don't know how it got there.
We don't know how Thanos got it from there.
Yeah. Also, we don't know if he was in Asgard or where the hell he was.
So it's a lot to talk about. One thing I want to ask, do you think Loki is going to die? Because that is a big rumor.
Is it?
Loki is going to die in this movie.
Oh, I haven't been keeping up with news, people. I'm sorry. Do I think he'll die? I think he'll die in Infinity Wars.
Okay.
No. I think he'll die now. This gives Thor that motivation, whatever motivation he needs to go take it to Infinity Wars. So, yes, I think he's going to be malicious throughout the whole movie for the most part. and then they're gonna run into Thanos or someone from Thanos' family or something, and Loki's gonna be like, okay, I'm on your guys' side, fight for them, and then die, kind of like he did in Dark World.
Okay.
But he actually dies this time. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think no way you kill Hiddleston. I think he dies in Infinity Wars, but he'll come back because I think he'll be a good guy in Infinity Wars because they'll need all hands on deck. I don't think you kill him in this way. So, but that whole taking over as Odin and remember the Dark World, he was there on the throne, so that's got to play out.
That seems so long ago.
It does. It was Thanksgiving area, man. You eat the turkey
and you watch Thor.
You fall asleep and you wake up a year later and there's another Thor. All right, so one thing we want to move on to is probably one of the most exciting news out there, which we've talked about quite a bit. Black Panther, February 16th, 2018. Ryan Coogler directing and writing. You got Chadwick Boseman, Black Panther. You got Michael B. Jordan, villain. You got John Boyega, we don't know. We got Andy Serkis as Ulysses Claw. And we got Lupita Nyong'o as we don't know.
Back to back, Thor and Black Panther. Very exciting movies. Hopefully they pan out. I think Black Panther definitely will. So, what do you...
I mean, putting Black Panther in Black History Month, smart, Marvel, and racist. We kind of talked about this cast. We know the buzz around this movie. As far as what I expect from the movie, there is rumors that Captain America will be in this movie, and that it's a continuation of where Civil War left off.
It's kind of like right there.
I'm going to go to reverse. I'm going to say I hope it is actually an origin story. I would be more interested in how T'Challa took on the Black Panther. Because in the comics, from what I understand, the Black Panther is the king. So it's not...
There are multiple Black Panthers.
Yeah, which is the same in the movies, but in the movies it was like, okay, Black Panther is the best warrior, basically. And then he was like, I'm basically the best warrior, and now because you killed my dad, I'm the king. But in the movie, it's like whoever's the king is the best warrior, or, vice versa. Yeah. And so we, in this way, the way they set it up, we can see T'Challa become the Black Panther, even though he's not king yet. Because in the movie, there's like, it's just the best warrior is the Black Panther. So I think you have it set up where Michael B. Jordan could be White Wolf, which is like the exact opposite of the Black Panther. And we can see that. We know we're supposed to see, what's his name? Like, Man Gorilla or Man...
Oh, yeah.
I forgot his name. I can't remember. But we're supposed to see, like, all that. And so, John Boy, all this, I think it sets you up for a nice origin story. That's my hope for it. I would love to see Steve Rogers pop up, but I just hope it's an origin story. Maybe Steve Rogers in the end credit scene. What about you?
I think they're going to stick with it being right after Civil War. Maybe not right directly after, but soon after. Winter Soldier went to sleep, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I don't think he'll be in it at all. I think he'll go away until Infinity Wars. But, again, I think kind of this replicates Spider-Man in terms of I want him to kind of make his own way in this universe, in the movies. I think that's very important, especially for this movie being a very African-American based story. So I think that's really important for them to consider. I don't want any whiteys in it. So
White devils.
So yeah, if Steve Rogers isn't in it, I don't mind. But again, I still think that it's going to be after Civil War. Since they were gone and he was in America or wherever they were for Civil War, here comes Michael B. Jordan creeping up and oh, everyone's gone. T'Challa's gone. Now it's my turn.
Okay.
So I think that's kind of what's going to play out. And man, I'm just so excited. And I want to see more Ulysses Claw, too. I love Andy Serkis.
Yeah, speaking of White Devils, like, he was... So if you don't know, Andy Serkis is famous for his mocap acting, motion capture. He was Caesar in the Planet of the Apes prequels that came out. He was Gollum in Lord of the Rings. Amazing, animation actor. But to see him live on set as himself, first of all, he looks just like Ulysses Claw. And he is a classically trained actor, like a lot of British actors. He was amazing.
Yeah, for 5 minutes he was in there.
Oh my God! Scarlet Witch comes up. And he's, I'm scared of cuttlefish, and I'm just like, man, he stole the scene. And so I'm excited to see him. That's a good point. He is. Maybe it's like Spider-Man again. I'm wondering. You got Claw as a villain. And then you also have Michael B. Jordan as villains. Like, are we going to be too convoluted?
I don't think Claw's going to be too big of a villain just yet. I think he's going to be there, but I think Jordan's definitely going to be the main antagonist.
The physical villain. Yeah. Because I could see Claw being the political villain. Yeah. Where it's like, how do we accept these archaeologists or whoever they are trying to take our vibranium? Mm-hmm. And then, how do you negotiate that? So yeah, Sal, you might be right for a change. All right, so that's Black Panther, February, Black History Month. We move on to May 4th, where they've been making pretty good money in the MCU in May. May 4th, May the 4th be with you. 2018 won't be a Star Wars movie. It will be Avengers, Infinity Wars Part 1. We have the Russo brothers, directors of Captain America, the Winter Soldier, Captain America Civil War. They're now taking over for Joss Whedon. They're the main directors. They got the same writers, same cast. Tony Stark, Iron Man. All these guys. Yeah. Only one we might be seeing is Chris Pratt as Star-Lord from the Guardians of the Galaxy.
That's the only new person.
He might be popping up into the Infinity Wars. However, we heard the rumors. There's 67 characters in this movie.
Throughout the two.
So what are you expecting from this movie? What's your theories and thoughts?
Talk about overcrowded. I don't know. I think they're still working those details out in terms of how to kind of fit all those people in there. I don't expect them to all have any screen time. You'll see some people, and it'll be a lot of Easter eggs. People who read the comics and know the superheroes and whatnot. So. But in terms of story, did we talk about who, is Thanos in this first one? Is he going to be...
He's supposed to be, yeah.
The main
I always say he is.
Okay. So,
I don't think he's the main antagonist, but I think
he's in it, yeah. So, I don't know how... We're still going to have those repercussions from Civil War, so that's going to be something that we have to pan out first. And, I think that's going to pan out kind of classically in terms of there is a bigger evil here and this is what we need to do. But it would still be interesting to see them have that conflict, at least in the beginning or first half of that movie, and see how they kind of work through that. Because I don't want it at the beginning like, well, I guess we got to stop what we're doing because here's this other guy. So that would be kind of the cheap way out. That's what I'm hoping they still tell that story because it is an important story in this universe. But in terms of the directors, the Russos, they did a great job with Civil War. Glad they're back for this. Kind of keep that consistent feeling with it, and let Joss Whedon not kill himself over the stress of directing such a huge movie. So yeah.
Right. And I'm on the same wavelength with you. I think my theory is that you start part 1 for the most part of the movie. Picks up where Civil War left off. We had heard the Russo brothers kind of say that Civil War and Infinity Wars are a trilogy. Mm-hmm. And so with that line of thinking, you pick up where Civil War left off. Captain America broke everybody out of prison. Yeah. Him and Iron Man still aren't the best of friends. And Tony just learned that Captain America knew who killed his parents, never told him. All right, so I think it's going to be a fight between those two on some new level. But at the end, you have Thor, Hulk, and Guardians all kind of coming in, like letting them know what's the bigger threat coming. And then from there we go to Infinity Wars Part 2, where, you know, it's all about the Infinity Stones and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my theory, is that a good chunk of this movie will be kind of a Civil War sequel, where you are still having that headbutting between Tony and Captain America. So, yeah. I mean, that's kind of my thought. Like you said, overstuffed. Yeah, 67 characters. I said it before. I don't get it. I don't see where you get characters from, especially when you're not using the Netflix guys like Daredevil and Luke Cage. Like, where are you getting these people from?
Yeah.
And so,
and the X-Men.
Yeah, you don't have the X-Men, so I don't know. I don't know where you get 67 characters from. We'll see.
There'll be a lot of secondary, third, fourth.
But I do think it will have to be hands on deck to fight Thanos. I think it's going to be the best villain we've seen yet for the MCU.
Well, they've been building up for it for 6 years.
So he has to be all powerful. So, yeah, do you think they'll just bring in Star-Lord without bringing the rest of the Guardians? Because I don't see any way you're like, yeah, we'll take Pratt. The rest of you can.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess that all kind of depends on what happens in Guardians 2.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you'd be able just to bring him in without any explanation. I wouldn't like that anyways. So I think depending on what they're doing with that story, kind of depends on Volume 2.
Okay. All right.
I don't know how much longer we have on this camera, so we're still recording though.
Okay. We only got 3 movies left. Okay. So next up, July 6th, 2018. So about a month later, we have Ant-Man and the Wasp, which inserted itself into the MCU and kicked some movies back, kicked some movies forward. Peyton Reed from the first Ant-Man is returning. Same writers, Paul Rudd, Adam McKay, all these guys coming back. Same cast. No idea what the movie is. We're in the real future version now, so we don't know what the movie is, but it is called Ant-Man and the Wasp. What are you expecting from this movie?
Just to continue the comedic relief in the MCU from Paul Rudd and Ant-Man. More of a continuation of the story, but also I wanted to tie in more with the current story in Infinity War as well, because this is kind of the situation that Flash is in. I think we're talking about. We're saying, well, the Flash movie comes after Justice League Part 2, so how's that going to tie in with stuff? Yeah. This is in the middle of the big two, so we don't, it could have repercussions on his story as well. So I'm just hoping that it still stays within that story.
Yeah, I'm thinking now that I'm looking at it, I like I said with Infinity Wars Part 1, I don't think it's like a team versus team. I think it's more of an Iron Man versus Captain America type thing. And so maybe not everybody is a part of it. Mm-hmm. And so maybe after Ant-Man gets out, he goes and does his own thing. But there's one or two ways to look at this. So A, which is my preferred way, is Ant-Man and Wasp as in Hank Pym and
oh yeah,
forgot Janet Pym. And so like in the past,
that would be a very sneaky way to put this movie in. I would like that.
And then maybe you could play kind of back and forth between past and present and do that. But I think you either do that, or the second way is you do with current Paul Rudd, Scott Lang Ant-Man, and the Wasp, which is Hank Pym's daughter, but you incorporate the Time Stone, which is one of the Infinity Stones we haven't seen.
Okay.
And so maybe it's something where Hank Pym can use that to go back, or figure out a way to kind of see his wife in the past or something.
Yeah.
Because we do have to incorporate that stone at some point. So I don't think it's Guardians. I think this might be a good way where you can incorporate the last stone or whatever you want to do.
I could see him just at the end, or at the beginning, or the end of some movie. Paul Rudd, I'm talking about, just take the stone out of his pocket and just look at it, and because he's a criminal. So,
oh, so like he just took it from somebody.
or his friends Or
Yeah, Michael Penn,
Yeah.
those guys.
That would be hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, but I agree with you.
He got the stone.
I don't know what he does, but yeah, I agree with you. It has to be funny still. You can't lose that comedic tone. But yeah, I one of those two ways. I like it either way. I like bringing the Wasp in this. She's one of the original Avengers, the founders. So even though it won't be that way in the movies, but it'd be nice to kind of see where she comes from.
Yeah.
All right, so moving on. March 8th, 2019. A little bit further down the road, we got Captain Marvel. Miss Marvel. She's not Captain Marvel. But anyway, we talked about a couple weeks ago, Brie Larson is rumored for the part. Not confirmed yet. Still doesn't have a director. Again, this is way in the future. It's 2019. But they got a couple writers, and forgive me, I forgot what they wrote. they wrote some movie. But that's all we got really right now. What do you expect? This movie was pushed back, though. It was originally earlier, and then Ant-Man and the Wasp pushed it back along with the Inhumans. We'll talk about that later. Mm-hmm. So, but what are you expecting from this movie?
Just to introduce an actually strong woman into the MCU. I don't consider Black Widow a strong character at all. I like her. That doesn't mean I don't like her, but I don't think she would ever be able to head her own movie. So this is something that Marvel kind of lacks in, and it's strong women within their universe that they can market and that they can succeed with. So I'm all for that. That's great. Brie Larson, I like her a lot. I don't know how she'll fit into that role. We kind of talked about it a couple episodes ago. I think more so, I think she still can do it, but you were saying how she's more the emotional kind of timid at some points actress, and that Captain Marvel is more of a lead type. She's a military.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. We'll see. I mean, it might not even be Brie Larson.
Yeah.
For all we know.
Right. That's not confirmed yet. And yeah, I agree with you. I don't know if she fits perfectly, but you can always kind of change the character up. Yeah, what do you expect from this movie? So again, this is one of those movies in between Infinity Wars. Well, let me ask you this. Where do you think she'll first pop up? Do you think in this movie or before? Because my guess is Guardians, even though I said Hulk will pop up, but I think there's a lot of people gonna pop up in that movie.
Good. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I could piggyback on what you're saying, Guardians too. Maybe in just a cutscene.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know her story that well, but so.
Yeah.
I definitely think she will come some point before this, just because that's how they market their characters. So, yeah.
And so you think, well, what do you think this movie would be about? Do you think it's a complete origin, or do you think it's a continuation?
I think it has to be an origin for this character because one, she's not that well known amongst casual fans, and two, it's a woman. It's their first lead woman character, and I think you really have to establish where she came from, and what she's doing here.
I agree with you, but on the same point, I would say if it's going to be an origin, she won't pop. This will be the first time we see her. Because like Doctor Strange, kind of a lot of us felt we might see him and we never did. There was never a hint for him. And the first time we'll see him is in his own movie, and it'll be an origin. So I think if it's going to be an origin, this will be the first time we see her.
Gotcha.
All right. So let's move on. Last movie. Avengers Infinity War Part 2, the end of Phase 3, May 3rd. Why they didn't do May 4th?
Yeah,
it's probably a Friday, but come on now. May 3rd, 2019, a year after Infinity Wars Part 1. Russos are coming back. Writers are coming back. This huge cast is coming back. Sal, if this movie was not overcrowded, would you be disappointed? Because this is the finale.
Yeah, see, that's the scary thing. Where are they going after this? I'm sure we'll hear soon, but it's just going to be weird because Thanos has been built up as the be-all, end-all character, villain. So that's a little scary to think about. But if it's not overcrowded, will I be disappointed? Yes. Yeah, because it's a war. I mean, you read the book, so I would be disappointed. It's gonna be interesting. But no one's talking about Josh Brolin either too much. I mean, I'm excited. I'm not worried about him at all, but I'm excited for him to finally interact with these people here.
Well, yeah, we didn't talk about it on part 1 because I don't know that he will. But I am anxious to see what it looks like to see Thanos actually interact with the rest, because Josh Brolin is not doing live action performance. It is, CGI and motion capture. So I'm interested to see how Thanos looks with the rest, because we've only seen him like really hologram in Guardians, and that end credit scene. Well, both of them is kind of just his face. So,
well, he was a little bit with like Nebula and Guardians, yeah.
But he was just sitting on a chair.
Yeah. For the most part.
I'm interested to see kind of what he looks like in comparison. But I gotta agree. If it's not 67 characters, first of all, you shouldn't have said it. If you're not gonna have it, second of all, it is the last movie of the 3rd phase. You gotta go all out. It is Thanos. It's just like,
this is where you need to be all destruction and everything.
Right, and just action.
Do it, yeah.
Just go for it. I mean, and Marvel bought that license where they can do kind of, off the wall stuff because they have the reputation. Do you think, I guess this is the biggest question. Well, I have a bunch of questions, so we'll go kind of quickly. Who do you think kills Thanos?
Iron Man.
I'm gonna go.
The smart answer would be Vision.
I'm gonna go with Thor.
You're gonna go Thor.
Smart ass might be Vision, but I'm gonna go with Thor.
It better not be like, oh, let's all get them at once.
Oh God. Oh my, like, yeah.
I think Iron Man can do it because he saved New York.
Okay, so you're going Iron Man. I'm going with Thor. Okay, second question.
I think Iron Man's gonna die. No, I don't know how many more movies Downey's got in.
That might follow kind of what I was gonna say. Second question: do you think this will reboot the universe?
Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea. You gotta ask these actors if they still want to do it after this.
What do you think's best? Do you think they kind of do it? I don't know what.
I have no idea.
Like recess
this is something like a whole nother conversation. Well, we had it kind of the superhero fatigue kind of thing, which you should go watch. Oh man, if I reboot, I don't know, because you're just getting Spider-Man in here, which obviously isn't Marvel, but yeah, maybe by then they'll strike a deal with Fox and Sony and like do everything together. I don't know. Reboot would be interesting, but also at the same time, we've been here for, at this point, what was it, 2019?
Yeah.
We've been here for
2008.
For 11 years. That's crazy. So yeah, I don't know.
Okay. Man, yeah, I don't know what else to say about this movie. I don't know. What are you expecting from? I mean, I know it's a long way away. Not really. It's 3 years actually,
Yeah.
but when you're sitting there watching
All these
Infinity
other
Wars
movies, yeah.
Part 2, though, what is it?
I
that
don't
you
even know.
want?
I can't even tell you what I expect from one. Really, just I don't know. I don't know. Ask me in 2 years.
It's too much. Sal in these big picture movies freaks out.
Yeah.
Okay, so but that is the Marvel Cinematic Universe as it stands now, because they tend to change things. But
yeah.
Before we wrap up, Inhumans not on the slate anymore. I know we talked about this before, but as we sit here today, do you think it pops up in Phase 4 or is it done?
I think it's done. It's been like its third time that it's trying to get off the ground, right?
They've moved it quite a bit.
They've moved it quite a bit, yeah. So I don't think so. Not no. I'm gonna go no.
Yeah, I'm still with my same answer. I hope it stays on TV and we don't need it in the movie universe. Okay, Sal thinks Iron Man's gonna die.
Maybe. I think Downey Jr. is done after this.
Okay. All right. So, I mean, that has been our thoughts, hopes, and theories for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Sal, I want to thank you for today. Where can the people find us?
They can find us on Twitter at The Canon Blog or on Facebook, facebook.com/The Canon.
All right, remember, if you heard it here today, it is canon.
I don't know what to do. It's too much now.